All right, we are live again. Welcome back to another Growth Lab training session. Today we're joined by Kelly Vaughn and Rhian Beutler. Welcome back to the Growth Lab. How you guys been?
Great. Thanks for having us again.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, excited to have you guys back. So since last time we had you guys on, you've been busy with your podcast, Commerce Tea. To kick things off, what can you tell us about Commerce Tea?
Rhian, you want to explain it?
Yeah, Kelly and I made a podcast that's all about succeeding on Shopify. And you can get there at commercetea.com or find it on any of your favorite podcast providers. But it's been really fun. We've been interviewing merchants and also having our own conversations. So it's been really great. The last thing we talked about was homepage and what matters, what's great, what we don't like, what you should definitely never do. That's the thing you can look at if you look at the most recent one.
There are a couple of hills we will die on that we go into. Actually, you'll probably hear us talk about them today. So.
Yeah, there are some hills we will die on that we will probably die on today.
Awesome. Well, I checked out that episode and it is really awesome. So if you haven't listened to it already, I highly recommend it. I'll make sure to drop a link to it in the chat as well so you guys can find it easily. But that's so awesome. I love podcasts, and especially when it's hosted by experts like you guys, because there's just so much value in listening to these, and I can go and optimize my store right away. So I prepped some rapid fire questions before we kick things off here. So for Kelly, what is the most common mistake you see merchants make from a conversion rate optimization angle?
Most common mistake is just picking one. Okay, let's go with not paying attention to your mobile experience. We tend to run our business on a desktop, on a laptop, and we forget that our customers are mostly on their phones. We're talking 60, 70% of your customers are actually viewing your website on their mobile device. So that's really where the bulk of your conversion rate optimization should be focused.
That's huge. I love that advice, because I find myself, continuing to look at sites on a desktop, and then I have to remind myself to look at it on a mobile site, because I've seen those stats as well. And then it looks completely different, and the user experience, the checkout experience is so different. So that's a really great advice. All right, Rhian, I have a question for you as well.
Okay.
When was the first e-com site launched?
Oh, I don't know that.
I'm just kidding.
A while ago.
Yeah, I was just going to give you the same question.
2009.
There you go, folks.
I built an e-com site in 2004. Is that right math? I think that's correct math. I was 14 years old. So
2004. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it actually was kind of missing the commerce functionality. But it was technically an online store. You just had to call to order.
I love that.
We've come a long way.
An online store, but you have to call to order. That's awesome.
I'm really glad technology has come a long way, as Rhian said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So how to start optimizing conversion like a pro. What can we expect to learn from you guys today?
So we're going to be talking about what a conversion rate is, why it matters. We're going to go through some examples of what makes a good store experience, like what's going to boost your conversion rate, so you know kind of where to begin analyzing your site and what changes to make, because I know it can be super overwhelming, especially as we're moving into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which looks completely different this year, being that we're all at home, a lot of stores are not opening. So I think the talking CRO today is really, really, really important.
All right. Well, I won't keep you guys. To everyone out there, we will be sharing a full replay of the session, as well as any pro tips and tools that Rhian and Kelly might be dropping during the training. If you haven't already, check out our Growth Lab community on Facebook. And otherwise, I'll let you guys take it away.
Thank you. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
I am great. How are you? Are we starting a podcast episode?
I know that it sounds like we're sort of podcast, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay. So my name is Kelly Vaughn. I am the founder and CEO of the Taproom. We're a Shopify Plus agency based out of Atlanta, and we specialize in custom development solutions for high growth brands.
My name is Rhian Beutler, and I'm the co-founder and COO of Venntov. We're the creators of Shopify apps, and you might know us best from SEO Manager, but we also have Order Lookup and Clocked In. I talk a lot about SEO, so some of y'all out here might be thinking, okay, we've seen her before, and she only talks about SEO. And SEO and CRO are related, but today we're going to shine the spotlight on Kelly and her just oasis of knowledge when it comes to CRO. So Kelly, first question for you. What is CRO?
So CRO is conversion rate optimization. This is where you are focusing on increasing your conversion rate by making incremental changes to your storefront. You're looking for any kind of barriers to conversion and resolving those issues. And basically the end goal here is you're ensuring that customers can both find the products they're looking for, understand what you're selling, and ultimately check out. So you're boosting your revenue.
What is a conversion rate though?
Yes. So a conversion rate can basically be defined as a percentage of visitors that land on your website who complete any desired action. So what we're usually talking about is placing an order, but technically you have all kinds of different conversion rates, adding to the cart. As you see on Shopify, you see add to cart, reach checkout, and then actually placed order. You can also have signed up for your mailing list or clicked on a certain button or watched a video. But what we're really talking about here is your e-commerce conversion rate. So actually completing checkout and placing an order.
Okay, that's phenomenal. And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because I was going to start talking about tooling, but we can talk about it later. Why does a conversion rate matter?
So first off, you're going to understand how your customers are interacting with your store. Your customers, you want them to have a really great experience, and you want them to not only purchase the first time, but also come back to purchase again. And a higher conversion rate means higher revenue. So you're also going to be making more money.
How would I go around calculating my conversion rate?
Ooh, I actually have a slide deck that I can share. I've been talking CRO for probably the last month. All of the talks that I've been giving have been on CRO. So I have like a full presentation to give. So I am going to see if I can present my screen. Oh, that's going to be tough. Okay, maybe I'm just going to show the slide deck here. Learning how to use a computer is okay. Okay.
It happens to the best of us, me frequently.
So I'm just going to keep it up like this. You can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
So there are two different places you can find your conversion rate. And one thing that I do want to stress here is, again, you have more than one conversion rate. And what's most important is calculating your conversion rate by device. Because if most of your customers are viewing on mobile devices, you want to look at that mobile conversion rate and see where it's at and compare it to the overall conversion rate. Quite often, your mobile conversion rate is going to be lower than your desktop rate and just your overall rate in general. But we'll get to that. So first off, if you are on the Shopify $79 a month plan, Advanced Shopify, or Shopify Plus, you can pull up this report, which is sessions by device. So if you click on analytics on the sidebar and then go to sessions by device, you'll click this edit columns button here, and you're going to add conversion rate. So I can't. I was trying to scroll and zoom in there, but I guess I can't. So what you're going to see here is you're going to see all the devices that are used in your site. Mobile, desktop, and tablet are always going to be there. And occasionally you'll see weird things like unknown or Samsung TV or random things. What we're really looking at are your mobile and desktop conversion rates for the most part. So in this example, you can see out of the total visitors, 8,000 of them are viewing on a mobile device, which means that's 80% of their customers are shopping on a mobile device. Their conversion rate on mobile is 1.2%. Compared to desktop, that's 2.94%. So if you're looking at just your analytics dashboard within Shopify, you're going to see a much higher conversion rate. Well, it's 1.46 really. It's weighted with your visitors here too. So my point being 1.2% is a pretty low conversion rate. It could be worse. You could be at 0.97 as you see here. But that's the first way to find your conversion rate. The second way is if you're not on the Shopify middle of the road plan or higher, you can actually access this information from Google Analytics as well. So if you go in Google Analytics and visit audience and then mobile, and then overview. And you're going to want to make sure you set the date range to at least 30 days. You're going to get the same exact report. This is a different store at a different time, so the numbers are not exactly the same, just so we're clear. Again, you're going to see mobile, desktop, and tablet. Mobile ranks for 79.87% of all traffic to this website. The conversion rate is 1.4%. For desktop is only 17% of the traffic, but the conversion rate is 3.02%. And you can also see the revenue breakdown here. So of course, most people are shopping on mobile devices, and the revenue for this past 30 days accounts for just under 69% of the total revenue, which is obviously a discrepancy between 80% of your customers being on mobile. So I'm going to stop there for just a second because we're going to dig into one of my favorite calculations to figure out your mobile conversion rate opportunity. But before we do that, I'm going to let you speak.
No, this is all phenomenal. And you really have to think about if you don't optimize your conversion rate, and I know you say this, you're leaving money on the table.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's one of those things that I feel like of course, as a Shopify agency owner, I'm like, yes, this is what you need to focus on. But I know there are a lot of things that are all things that you absolutely need to focus on, including SEO. So, it's tough deciding what to prioritize, really. CRO is definitely up there as far as importance goes. I see Peyton just asked a question, how do we see CRO per screen size? You can actually run the same report, just not under mobile. You can actually break it down by your different screen sizes and still pull up that conversion rate. It's just on a different section on Google Analytics. That's
a great question. One thing, if everyone can fill out the poll, because I'm noticing most people are on basic Shopify and Shopify. So, I'm really glad that we're talking about Google Analytics. What about enhanced e-commerce?
Yes. So Shopify has this feature built in when you're adding your Google Analytics ID to check a box that says enhanced e-commerce. What this is going to do is basically send over all those actions that happen on your store. So viewing a product, adding to cart, etc., and send that all over to Google Analytics. So you can do whatever you want to do with that data.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of Google Analytics. If I see that there's a perfect setting up Google Analytics and Google Analytics Academy, I do recommend, if you're bootstrapped and you're doing it yourself, taking that class will really expand your mindset. Lola, good question. And don't worry, we are getting to it. So what is a good conversion rate?
So I think Little Data, I know what Little Data is. It's a website that helps you with the tracking of Google Analytics and running reports. They say that the average conversion rate, the benchmark, is 1.75%. But I really, really, really want to stress that it depends. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends if you have very complex products. If you have a higher price point product, like, you're spending a few $100s per item, or even your average order value is in the hundreds, your conversion rate tends to be a bit lower the more expensive your products are.
Yeah. As I have a friend / former client who sells lower dollar products, and not only are most of his sales on mobile, his conversion rate is through the roof, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's selling $6 items at scale, right? And you're not selling those $200, $300 products, where it gives people the opportunity to say, wait a second, should I really be buying this? Let me maybe come back. And there's not that product cycle that we get caught in.
You don't have to do so much nurturing when it's basically an impulse buy.
Right. Exactly. I try not to buy anything after midnight because that is an impulse buy. For anyone who wants just a peek into my brain. Okay. So what are some really great examples of stores that are slaying the game?
So one of my favorite examples, of course, I can't see their conversion rate, so I'm just assuming that they have a good conversion rate based on the user experience. It's called Primal Kitchen. So Primal Kitchen sells like keto-friendly products. I think it's keto-friendly.
Yeah, keto, paleo, gluten-free.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
So I am going
to say that whole thing. My whole house is gluten-free. I'm like, all that stuff.
All that stuff. I'll pull up the tab here so we can look at it together. Which one are you? I have so many tabs open. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is the Primal Kitchen website. So one of the things we love to do at the end of these webinars are live teardowns. So you're going to kind of get a glimpse into what that teardown is going to look like, just as I'm walking through my favorite features on this site that are great for CRO. So I'm going to casually scroll past this slideshow because I'm not ready to open up that can of worms yet. Yeah. So one of the things that I really like about this website is they make it very easy for you to find what you're looking for. They already have like their most popular products here. They have everything broken down by category, so you can look for a specific food type. They have trust building factors. So here's where they've been in the press, for example. And their product photography is also like a really key thing here, and their copy. You can tell that they've spent a lot of time on optimizing their copy to really, draw you in. So I'm going to pull up
one thing real quick. I just want to make a comment. One thing that's cool about their product photography is, I know it's something a lot of us struggle with, but this is super simple. This is something we can actually achieve in our homes. And so I'm really glad that we're showing this, because I don't think every store that we look at today is going to be something that we can photograph inside of our home, but this is. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed and you need some inspiration, this might be a great place for you to land.
Yeah. So on their collection page, a few things that stand out to me: all of their product photos are the same aspect ratio. They're all a square. It makes it just a very uniform experience when you're just viewing the website. You can also quickly see the product reviews, the number of ratings they have. Again, Primal Kitchen is a popular brand, and so they have a lot of reviews on their website for each of their products, but that is a big trust building factor right there. And then lastly, they have a really easy setup here for you to immediately add an item to the cart without even clicking through into the product page. We're on a collection right now. So if I click add to cart, you see this beauty right here. I love slide out carts because you're skipping an entire page that you don't have to load. And if you're on a slow network connection, all I'm doing is sliding this information out from the side of the website. I'm not having to load that separate cart page. So a few things to point out here. They have this free shipping threshold bar. First off, we can talk all about testing free shipping, but they have free shipping kicking in at $25. So as I add more items to the cart, you see if I add this, it then changes to I've now unlocked free shipping. This is a good way to get people to keep on adding more items to the cart. It also helps boost your conversion rate. So again, free gift with purchase over $60. That's another benefit to keep on adding more items to the cart. And they also have things that you might love. So their most popular products. This is powered by an app called Rebuy, by the way. It says powered by Rebuy at the bottom. Pretty cool.
You're like, the reason I know this is because it says so.
I also just really like their whole thing that they have going on. Okay, so let's talk very quickly about subscriptions. So subscriptions are a really great way to get your customer return rate higher, because people are going to keep on coming back without ever having to lift a finger. The order is automatically processed after, say, a month or 3 weeks, whatever you happen to set it to, and the item gets shipped. So what they have really cool here is, technically you'd think this drops the price because I'm saving 10% by upgrading to a subscription. While I may be reducing the average order value now, I am becoming a subscriber, which means you're going to get at least one more order out of me. There you go. So now I can choose how I want to actually select that.
Can we just noodle a little bit? I've been saying noodle so often, so I apologize to everyone. I watched a show, Mythic Quest, and then they say it's said a lot on the show. Now I'm saying it a lot, but can we just speak a little bit more about free shipping and the impact it has on CRO, just while it's up here?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are basically 3 strategies to shipping. You can charge based on product weight and let the shipping cost change just depending on what's in the cart. You can set a free shipping threshold, like this one's set to $25. Say a customer orders, if your average order value is, let's say, $50, basically the rule of thumb that I like to run by is basically increase it by 20%. And that's what your new free shipping threshold should be. You can still do a combination of these, by the way. So you can have weight-based shipping, but still have that free shipping threshold kick in. The third option is to always offer free shipping, in which case it depends on your margins and if you can even offer it. But quite often people will bump up their product pricing in order to make up for what it would cost to ship out the item. It really depends on what works best for you. I highly recommend having some sort of free shipping threshold if you can fit that into your margins.
100%. I'm a big fan. And also it when you're talking about AOV, I can't count the amount of times that I've put things in my cart and then I've been thinking, okay, so I only need to spend $10 more to get free shipping, and then I buy something for $30. And but so many of us do that. It's a really common buying psychology and buying behavior.
Absolutely.
And then we check out, and then our conversion rate goes up. Everything's great.
Yeah. So quick kind of bonus to those who are on Shopify Plus, I do want to point out some things on here that make it a really cool experience for Shopify Plus merchants. Is this one-time add-ons is something that you can add to your cart or add to your checkout experience on Shopify Plus. This is also powered by Rebuy. I do want to actually make a change here. Let me add this to my cart. It's taking me to the recharge checkout, and I want to go to the regular Shopify checkout. Actually, I'm not going to do that just in case it takes me to the checkout that already has my address showing. So,
I think you've done that more than once.
So just one really quick thing as we can view this product page, and then we can go on to another example. The product page, the way this is laid out makes it really easy to consume this information. They have a short introductory text here. It is a couple sentences, few sentences, whatever it might be. I'm not counting. It's not a huge amount of text. That comes down here. That way you're getting to checkout as fast as or to the add to cart button as fast as you can. Remember, your customers are on mobile devices. So if I'm viewing the website on a mobile, can you see the mobile version there?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So if I'm viewing the website on mobile, I don't want to have to scroll down like halfway down the page in order to actually reach that add to cart button. I want to get to it as quickly as possible. So that's why you want to keep this text short and concise, but still introduce the product. So I hit the wrong button.
So that's also a great example for anyone who is interested in looking at great product copy and the like. Primal Kitchen is a great example of how to write and build great product descriptions, and they have a solid product description page.
Yeah. I also want to shout out an app that recently got released in the App Store. I have no connection to this app. I just think it's a genius idea because nothing has existed of the sort. This lets you A/B test your shipping rates.
Ooh,
so you can
I
test
love that.
free shipping on all orders versus free shipping at a certain threshold. And then if you go through these examples of the images, it kind of shows you like the breakdown of basically what's going to make, which one performs the best when you're running your test. I think this is super cool. This is the only, it's not cheap, it's $50 a month, but I think this might be the only app that allows you to actually A/B test your shipping rates.
It's the only one I know of. That's certainly true.
So I'm super excited to actually use that on my client stores.
So Kelly, I am noticing that we have a majority of the people who have joined us today are selling fashion and apparel, which is great because the next example of a great store that we're going to use is an apparel store.
Which store was that? Because we were going to do Brightland next.
Oh, just kidding. My Google Doc hasn't updated.
Oh, but I can show Thigh Society.
There you go. Thigh Society is phenomenal. I also, TMI, I have Thigh Societies on because I'm wearing a dress.
Not TMI, but also full disclosure, Thigh Society is my client.
Yes.
So it is a beautiful website, but I'm a little biased. But I know the conversion rates, so I'm giving a really great example here. So here's another good example. Free shipping on orders over $50. It's immediately obvious. And I just clicked on something that's cool. One of the things that if it's still relevant to you, I know we're, in August, we're 6 months in now. If your fulfillment or anything is delayed or just off schedule because of COVID, please note that up here, make it very crystal clear that shipping, like orders might be delayed. You don't want any unhappy customers thinking that they're not going to be or wondering where their item is when they haven't received it. So I'm going to pull up, oh look, they're on sale, a product page here. So other things here, this description has gotten a little lengthy. I have opinions about that. Again, trust building factors right here. It's front and center for you, so you can see a lot of people really like this. All the information, this is one of my favorite tabs here. This is what I was just talking about. COVID-19 update. We're open, orders are shipping on schedule. Keeping this information like visible right on the product page is super helpful for conversions. The other tab here, return policy, really helpful. These are final sale. So that is important to know. It's going to answer a lot of questions up front. Just scroll down, you'll get some more information about the product. Anything to keep on, convincing people to actually add it to their cart. And you'll see, once again, there is a slide out cart on this one as well, because I love slide out carts.
Well, slide out carts are just effective. And are there any themes that you can think of off the top of your head that do have slide out carts out of the box?
Yes. So Impulse, which is by, I'm blanking on their name. Well, the Impulse theme, if you Google it, Impulse Shopify theme, you'll find it. Turbo and Flex from Out of the Sandbox both have slide out carts as well. I recommend just going through the theme store. You'll likely find some more that I'm not thinking of that also have these slide out carts built in. I don't know if there is an app in the App Store that currently converts your cart into a slide out cart. However, it is something that we're working on for our own slide out cart to turn it into a Shopify app. So it might happen eventually.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm all about productizing when it comes to services. So that sounds phenomenal. Okay, we're getting a bunch of questions. So do you have a recommended app for slide out? No. And how do we add a slide out cart? That either needs to be custom coded or you need to buy a theme that already has one.
That's correct. Yeah.
I saw a question earlier that also, everyone can tell I need new glasses, but I can't go get them. So I have to get very close to my screen.
So I see Peyton asking, do you get rid of the cart page entirely if you have a slide out cart? I have clients who do it both ways. So we actually have it set up to automatically redirect you to a different page and slide open the cart if you try to visit that cart link. So you're always just, for us as a dev team, it's easier because we're optimizing one single cart. Actually, I can show another example of a really solid cart if you're not going a slide out cart route, which is a website called Prep Deck. Really cool product, by the way. I'm most likely going to be buying one of these as soon as their website loads. This is a bad example, apparently. There we go. Cool.
Oh, I always get targeted for this on Instagram.
Yeah, I am too, a lot. So here's their card. It's got a lot going on. But first, some things to point out here. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on here. Do not give me promotions, please. They have trust building factors right on their card. They are upselling, or they're cross-selling really, this container set here so you can add an additional item to the cart. They have a testimonial front and center about how much this person loves their prep deck. You can see the information about the orders. This is a higher price point product, so here it is already going to be shipping for free. They also have this starting at $85 a month with Affirm. So let's talk about this for a second.
Yes.
These are basically buy now, pay later kind of options that kind of split the payments up. So there's Affirm, Afterpay, Sezzle is one that we often come across. Klarna, there are a bunch of them.
QuadPay.
Yeah. So basically what these do is some split the order into 4 equal parts. Some of them break it into like 2 parts. It varies basically. But why it's helpful is that if I'm looking at buying $150 or $250 worth of an item, it's a little bit much to pay that immediately right now. So if I break it out into $85 a month into multiple payments, it becomes a little easier to stomach. Think about Peloton. everyone's buying a Peloton right now. They are, once you buy like the shoes and the mat and everything like that, it's like $3,000. So instead, you can pay over the course of however many months they do, 24 months, I think, and break that payment into a much more easy to stomach kind of pricing. A couple other things here before we move on is 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, trust building factor, and blazing fast customer service. If you have any issues, you know that you can reach their customer service.
So I have a question about, on the right-hand side here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different checkout quick pay options.
Don't do this.
Okay. I felt like it was a little bit heavy-handed. Yeah. I feel like 2 or 3 might be a better amount.
Honestly, I would do the secure checkout, because at this point, you're not saving any time by going to Shop Pay, because it's still going to take you to the checkout anyway. So my personal opinion, this is a lot to deal with. I would definitely shrink this down into 1 or 2 options tops.
Yeah,
like checkout with Affirm is a good example, like these 2.
I couldn't agree more. I saw that and was like, whoa, that would be overwhelming to see. Let's give a bad example real quick before we move on to the how to do it on your store part of this talk.
Yes. Okay. So I forgot to pull up that link. Herschel. Sorry, Herschel.
Yeah, it's not personal.
It's not personal, but we tend to use this example as a bad example quite often. All right. I'm about to share my Chrome tab, but I can still see it's loading, so we're going to hope for the best. Oh, there we go. Okay. So first thing I noticed here is, ignore this, there are 72 different options for this product because it comes in all kinds of different colors, which great, but this is how many I can see. Are you really going to have me sit here and flip through and flip through and flip through and flip through? I mean, this thing is, this is a lot. So this is a bad example because I might not like see something immediately that I like and I churn, I leave the site, when maybe way down here somewhere, there's like, oh, I really want this one, and this one would have been great. They also have these sort by collections, which I think filters through these, which, okay, but this text is so tiny. Yeah. It's really difficult to read. Another thing that I've noticed on this, you see this sold out button? Can't click on it, can't sign up for order notifications. Let me switch to Thigh Society really fast because I think I can pull up wrong color. There we go. Okay. Share that tab. So when you are looking for an item to buy and it's available, it says add to cart. When you choose a different size, it's no longer available. It says notify me when available. I click on that. I get this pop-up that is loading kind of funny. There we go. And I can choose which option that's unavailable that I want, enter in my email, and then I'll get a restock notification. This here is powered by Klaviyo. Big fan of Klaviyo. If you are not using Klaviyo for your email, another option you can use for back in stock is an app called Back in Stock. Very cleverly named.
Developers we love naming our apps by just telling you exactly what the app does in the app name. Okay.
So let's go through and just answer a bunch of these questions that are showing up.
That sounds good. Okay, so we got a question regarding, are you going to discuss boosting conversions from abandoned cart?
We can talk about that. So actually, let's talk about abandoned cart series. See, I'm not saying one single email. You need to be talking to your customers more than one time when they've abandoned their cart. You can't do this through Shopify. If you're using Shopify's abandoned cart emails, you need to use a different platform. I'm going to keep on using Klaviyo as an example. OmniSend, MailChimp, they all do this. So you can create an abandoned cart flow in any of them. You're looking to send 2 or 3 emails to continuously keep that conversation going and keep you top of mind. This is especially important now because you're putting these things together when everyone's going to be inundated with emails and shopping all over the place and looking for the best deals for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and just the general holiday shopping season. So starting to plan your abandoned cart series now is really important. Make sure you're emails match your brand's voice. The same kind of language you're using on your website, you should be using on your emails as well. That's something that's I see. It's kind of funny. I run my own merch store as well, and I've updated the abandoned cart emails. I haven't updated like the order confirmation emails though. There's still like the standard Shopify. Your order has been confirmed. Bad example, but basically that's when it comes to abandoned cart emails. Also, don't offer a discount code immediately in that first abandoned cart email. You can wait until like that third one. You can basically say like, hey, you left this item in your cart. And then the next email that goes out maybe 2 days later is like, your cart's about to expire. We all know carts don't actually expire, but we're going to say whatever. And then maybe on a third email, you'll say, hey, if you want free shipping, place your order and use this discount code for free shipping. So you can kind of keep pulling them back in. I also see some people on abandoned cart emails recommend other products, saying like, oh, maybe this might not be the right product for you, but you might like this product or these products instead. So lots of different options you can go for the abandoned cart series.
Okay, another question, totally different. And Nick is asking, quick question on that last cart page. How do you limit the quick pay options? I was under the impression that was an all or nothing option in the Shopify checkout settings.
It is an all or nothing option. So it's the affirm button is actually something that was added. All of the rest of them, the Amazon Pay, the Shop Pay, the Google Pay, all of those are automatically added together. If you don't have them on the cart, they'll show up on checkout. So you can still use that, keep those items options available, but not directly on that cart page. You'll quite often see like a lot of websites only have a secure checkout button, which by the way, secure checkout and not checkout, because again, little trust building factor with that copy can, allow people to be like, oh, okay, I'll trust this site. It's secure.
And plus, it also makes people stick around longer, which is good for SEO.
Yep.
So I did see a question from Taylor that got flagged as a question, and it's how do we deal with returns during COVID? And I'm going to tell you, we cannot advise on that. I would speak to an attorney or someone who is not us, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's not I actually do have a degree in public health, but I don't know how to deal with returns during COVID.
No, unfortunately I have no idea. I have heard anecdotally that people are just letting people keep things. I've
heard that. Yeah, I've also heard people let their packages sit for 72 hours before processing the return, because basically that's what they're saying, like the span of what the virus can live on is up to 72 hours on plastic or cardboard, whatever it is. I don't know. That is definitely an area where I would speak to an attorney or something.
Yeah. Okay. What do you feel about the pop-ups to sign up for email blast or other customers buying before you can look at anything else? It's an annoying practice, but common.
So this is one of Rhian's hills.
This is a hill I will die on. I loathe pop-ups. Not every kind of pop-up, but I agree with you, Sarah, because and for those of you who have heard me speak before, you've heard me say exactly this, a pop-up that hits you right away. It's like as if you're walking into a Nordstrom and someone has a giant sign and they're like, give me your email now or else you can't keep coming, like through the store. People are just going to turn around and walk out, right? It's going to increase your bounce rate. So also, on top of that, Google cannot crawl past that. So if you serve your pop-up right away, Google's just hitting your pop-up, can't do anything about it. Now, pop-ups do have a place. Kelly, do you want to talk about their place?
Yes. So you have two options. One, wait to trigger the pop-up until you're further down the page. So your customers have scrolled down, let's say 70% of the page. They're on there for a little while longer. So you can then serve them that pop-up. They've had time to learn who you are before it actually pops up. You can also have it not just literally like pop up in your face. You can have it gently slide in from the bottom. So it's less aggressive. Another option is time-based pop-ups. So let's say somebody has spent 30 seconds on your site, then you serve them the pop-up. So it's not absolutely immediate. I also, while we're talking about pop-ups, I see, Peter, you asked, why does Kelly hate spin to wins? So this is one of my hills. Spin to wins are, I'm going to be honest, they can bring in a lot of new emails for your website, but they are low quality emails because these are people who are just going for a discount. That's all they're looking for. They're not interested in like actually building and nurturing that relationship. They're looking for a sale. They're looking for a deal. So there's a difference between having a large list of junk emails and having a smaller curated list of emails of customers who are more likely to stick around and buy again. So that's why I'm not a fan of spin to wins. While we're still on the topic of pop-ups, and I apologize if you are, if you listen to our podcast episode, you're going to hear all of this anyway. Please do not use sarcastic copy on your no thanks button.
Yeah, it's like old growth hacky stuff that just feels yuck.
It's called a dark pattern. Basically, you're trying to like guilt somebody into doing something or try to trick them into doing something. So just say no thanks and have the close button. You don't have to say no thanks, I hate saving money, or no thanks, I don't want $10 off, because again, it's a dark pattern. So please just stick with no thanks.
One of the other, so Steve is asking a secondary question about the spinny wheel apps. What do you think about Wheelio to collect emails and give a discount on their first purchase? I'm going to answer quickly with, I don't think building a discount culture in your brand is ever beneficial for your brand, because when you get, like what Kelly said, when you get people coming in and they want that sale, if you don't keep giving them a sale, they're just not coming back. And you just don't, you don't want your brand to be a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
You always want to have that value.
Exactly. I see Taylor asking if there are spin to wins that are not discount based. I know that a lot of these wheel pop-ups, spin the wheel pop-ups, you can customize what actually shows up on the wheels. I can't tell you what you can actually show on there because I refuse to install the apps on any of my client stores. So you can try like Wheelio or see what shows up there and see if you have that kind of option to show off something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I see Derek asking, on Shopify Basic, does the conversion rate in the analytics dashboard include all website visits or just product and collection pages? It counts everything. Your visits are any page you're landing on. You're not really, it's not like limited to just your product pages or your collection pages. That's where you can get, really granular in the data on Google Analytics, because you can basically see what is my conversion rate when somebody landed on this very specific page, or they came into my website from a specific product page as opposed to the home page. So you can do some really creative things with all of that data. That's why you're having enhanced e-commerce turned on and sending all that data over to Google Analytics.
What do you think about using, Carolina asks, what do you think about using a free gift with purchase? So a value add, not a discount. I love it too. I love value adds too. Yeah.
It's actually something that we're doing on Thigh Society. Is you're getting a free Delicates wash bag with purchase. It's automatically added to your cart when you add any other item to the cart. You remove it from the cart, it automatically removes from the cart. There are also plenty of apps in the Shopify App Store that can do this. That is a really great value add that, especially if it's like a low margin, like a high margin product, is not costing you much to make or anything, go ahead and throw it in. I see that's one of the best things that I see people do as far as sales go for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's a free gift with any, with a purchase of any amount, or a free purchase like Primal Kitchen was doing, free gift with a purchase of over $60.
Yeah, and if you're in the beauty space or anything, I think of like Drunk Elephant. When you buy skincare from them, they send you little minis, which are travel sizes. But those little value adds, you get them and you're thinking, oh, this is cool. This is a free thing that I'm getting with this. And it makes you excited to make that next purchase because you know that you're getting something.
Exactly.
So, okay, we're at 3:45. So I want to make sure that we get to, what do you need to do? How do you analyze your site? And how do you spot conversion killers?
So I see Evan just mentioned, obviously conversion rate is influenced greatly by page speed. So let's talk about page speed, because that is one of the most important things to
hot topic right now too.
Yes. So you'll see rolling out in your Shopify admin pretty soon here that you're going to be able to see the page speed score compared to other stores similar, and also compared to, last 30 days, and see how your page speed has changed. So a couple things going on here. First of all, it's using something called Lighthouse, which is not the end all be all when it comes to your page speed score. It does not take into account that you are an e-commerce store. It's comparing your score to like a brochure website. It's really basic, just click through things. It's very, very different. But the important thing to note here is the more apps you install, the slower your site becomes. It is one of the trickiest things that happens. And also, you might install an app and then uninstall it later, and that code is still sitting in your theme, which is the worst thing. I highly recommend whenever you are installing an app, or you're uninstalling an app, reach out to their support team and ask them if there's any code that stays in the theme, and if so, can they remove it?
And they should be willing to do that. Unfortunately, some apps, also the way they inject code is really messy. So our apps, we actually manually install the code for folks. And the reason we do that is so we're not just kind of like blasting it into the theme code, the liquid file, wherever it can go, wherever it fits, because that's not good for performance. And so if you have the option to have someone help you install the app code, and especially if it's free, always choose that option. And always don't, when you're uninstalling apps, just email them. They, as
Most customer support teams are nice.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, well, I wish you would use my app, but I'm not mad at you for not, so yes, I'm happy to remove that code. So I think it's important to do. I think it's important to audit through. And I've looked at stores that have 4 different sets of meta descriptions in their theme.
Yeah.
Because of the way that the code works. So it's just something to be aware of.
So before we move on to another topic, I just want to talk a little bit more about your page speed score. Please do not strive for a score of 100.
Oh, you're never getting it.
If you want to see a website that is a score of 100, you can visit my website, which is kvlly.com. It is literally a page with text. That is how I got a score of 100. You shouldn't be aiming for a score of 100. It's not necessary. It's not going to ding you on SEO or anything like that. What you're looking for are the recommendations that they're making. So it's saying your images are too large, or you're loading too many scripts up front. Those are the kinds of things that you're paying attention to, not so much that score.
100%. And it's also in Google Analytics, it tells you how fast your page speed, or how fast your pages are loading. Super important, because if it loads any slower than about 2.5, 2.7 seconds, people bounce and they will never come back.
Yeah.
So that really
the
matters.
nature is, you're going to see when you look at the analytics, you're going to look at your website and you're going to see a lot of those page speeds are above 2.5 seconds. It's very common for sites to be a bit slower or just e-commerce sites in general to be a bit slower, because we tend to just load so much information on the site.
Yes, absolutely. Now, images are normally a problem, right, Kelly, in terms of their weightiness. Yes. What tool do you recommend to get those images to the right speed?
If the images are too large, like the size itself, the file size is too large, I recommend using a Shopify app called CrushPix. This will optimize the images that are already uploaded to your store. However, I recommend optimizing the images before you import them. If you are on a Mac, I like using an app called Image Optim. It's free. You can just right click on the image and go to services and optimize image, and it'll shrink that image size down. It removes like the metadata that's hidden in the image that nobody's really paying attention to. You're not dropping the quality of the image. You're just making the image size smaller. Another thing to note about the literal size of the image: keep the images to appropriately the right size pixel wise that it displays on the website. So don't upload an image that is 2,000 pixels in width when it's fitting on this tiny space on your website that's like 360 pixels in width. There's no point.
I remember most people are not buying from a 5K monitor, and they don't need that. They don't need that crystal clear image. And I think we get caught in that, especially in lifestyle and apparel brands. We're like, well, we need that lifestyle shot. We need that. And you do.
They're right here.
Yeah, but look how tiny it is. It's so
is.
tiny compared to what's in front of us most of the day. So as Kelly had mentioned earlier with the mobile versus desktop, it's just important to think, how fast is this going to load on mobile? Because the last thing you want is people thinking your website's broken.
Yeah. It's important to note, Derek asked, doesn't the theme automatically optimize the images? So what they're doing, like Turbo, what they do is it's called lazy loading. So it only loads the image when you actually scroll down to that point on the website. So it's not immediately loading the images that are way down on the website that nobody's seeing. You also see it in carousels on like image slideshows when you're viewing a product page. You'll see it kind of like fade in when it's loading the next image because it's literally loading it at that time instead of immediately when you land on the page. That helps with the page speed. It helps with perceived speed, which is different from actual speed. Yeah. If the site appears to be fast, people will stay on it, even if it's technically slower.
Okay.
Taking a note here. I just dropped in the link for the Image Optim app that I like to use. Okay. A couple other things to note. Again, audit your mobile site. That is something that's super, super important to start with for conversion rate optimization. See the experience. Actually go through the website and on your mobile device as if you were a customer and basically point out any kind of holes in the experience. Does the copy kind of not make sense? And if you feel like you're biased because it's your website and you technically are biased, ask a friend to do it. Ask a family member to do it.
I love doing that. I love handing your phone to someone in a safe manner, of course, and saying, hey, or you could even do this over Zoom, navigate my store and then watch them. Every time you want to say, no, don't do that, that's a user experience issue, which can impact your CRO and impacts your SEO as well. So but oftentimes we're too close to what we do ourselves, right? We're like, this is beautiful. I worked on it for hours. It's stunning. And then someone picks up the phone and they're like, why doesn't this work? And you're, oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't think to make that clickable. So it's not scientific, but it works.
A site Kraken or an app that you like to use? What
is
that?
Kraken.
So that's something that you're on Windows you can use.
Yeah, it's web-based. So Kraken.io, like Release the Kraken, that's a free web app, and I love it.
So if you're on Windows, that's a great option to use. Okay. What else do I have here?
Oh, Kelly, I want to make sure that we talk about heat mapping.
Yes, let's talk about heat mapping. So heat maps are basically maps that show where customers have clicked on a website, where customers have moved their mouse on a website, where they've hovered. You can basically get a lot of really interesting information about how your customers are interacting with your website. If you don't have anybody to ask on how they're using your website, this is a really, really great tool to use. I can actually show you what it looks like here because I have that tab as well on my presentation. I knew it was worth putting together this slide deck.
I love heat mapping.
Okay, so there are 3 different types of maps that you'll see here. Now, I have the desktop versions up. There are mobile and tablet versions of each of these maps as well. Basically, you're installing a little piece of code on your website, and every time a customer visits your website, it's recording what they're clicking on, how they're scrolling, and how they're moving their cursor. Of course, if you're on a mobile device, you're not going to get a move map because you can't see people hovering over your phone. But, oops, there we go. So the click map is going to be where are the buttons that people are most clicking on, but also what are people clicking on that isn't a link? So you can see it's kind of small here. There's a little, there are blobs on all this text down here. None of this links, and this indicates that I should probably link that to something. This is my own website, by the way, for the Taproom. The scroll map shows you how far down the page people are scrolling. There are a couple things that are cool about this one. You can see where the average fold is. So basically how much of the website is loaded on the average screen that people are seeing without having to scroll. And you're also going to see basically 25% of the people reach this point, 75% of the people reach this point. What you can do, and it kind of changes like as a rainbow here, what you can do is see if you have really important content that's lower down on the page that people aren't scrolling to, but you think is really key to having people see, that indicates that you should move it up higher up on the page to make sure that more people are seeing it. The move map just shows literal cursor movement. I don't really use it that much, but I did want to show that it's on there. So one thing to note also with using a tool like Hotjar, which is what I was showing there, is, I hope you can't hear that, it's storming here. You can also basically record the interactions of people browsing on your website, literally clicking on a page, loading the next page, scrolling through, maybe toggling through the images in the gallery, choosing the options and adding it to the cart and going to checkout. So you can literally watch people browse the website and find those holes. If they're not interacting with the site in the way that you expect them to, that indicates that there's a disconnect somewhere that needs to be fixed.
So I see that someone has a concern with, David has a concern with the load times with heat maps.
It is loading a script on your site. I don't want to say it's a huge, I don't think it's like that's what's going to make or break the experience.
Yeah, I concur.
Adding a script to your website, so it is going to slow things down a fraction.
Yeah.
I think the data that you get from it is worth more than that little speed decrease. I have clients using Hotjar right now, and they have 5%, 10% conversion rates. So I'd say it's more worth having the data available. Yeah,
and like Kelly was saying earlier, right? We're not looking for 100. This is one of the. It's like the antithetical to what we learned in school. 100 is actually maybe not great. You're probably looking for what, 60, 50? I would even take 50.
Yeah, and you're going to see your mobile score be lower than your desktop score as well.
Yes.
Angie asks, does adding sales channel impact site speed? No, it does not. They exist as unique, separate entities on your website to give you more avenues to sell your products. It does not impact your storefront whatsoever.
Burgess asks, does Shopify automatically lazy load, or how do you recommend us adding that without an app?
It does not automatically do that. That's either going to be something that's already built into a Shopify theme that you're using, or you're going to need a developer to add that code in. It does not come standard outside of the box.
What are your thoughts on AMP? I have thoughts on AMP.
I think AMP is the biggest scam on earth. Okay, that's a bit much, but it's not worth your time. It's I think I guess Rhian, why don't you speak to this, because it definitely has SEO implications.
It does have SEO implications, but they don't apply to e-commerce, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Google is smart enough to know what's up, and they can see through your site hierarchy. They can see through all of that what you're doing on your store. So it is near impossible for an e-commerce store to be amped.
Let's define what AMP is. Do you want to explain it?
I actually don't. This is classic me. Accelerated mobile.
Accelerated mobile pages. That's it.
Pages. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, it's an alternative view of your website that's powered by Google to let you browse through the website a lot faster. You see it a lot on like news websites, or blogs are more commonly using it because you're staying on one page for longer because you're like reading an article. It's going to be less prevalent when you're going from page to page to page to page and kind of skipping around there.
I would also caution against using AMP type apps from a security perspective, because the only way you can achieve AMP is by pulling your information off of Shopify. And so now you're it's a mess. Don't do it. The high level overview is don't do it. It's a mess, but it has a lot of other potential ramifications when you start getting there.
So on the topic of pop-ups, Andrew just asked, I have to have an age gate on my store or on my store. Does that impact how Google tracks my site?
No, it does not. So there's two pop-ups that Google do not care. Google does not care about. One is age gating. Second is GDPR.
Show those pop-ups. They're necessary.
Show those pop-ups.
They're not going to ding you. Freedom Armstrong says, do you believe it is important for a site to have Messenger to interact with consumers? I love it if you can use it. If you have the kind of the staff, the customer service representatives available, it's super, super, super helpful to have that chat, because that can make or break somebody's decision to place an order. There are a bunch of apps that you can use in the App Store that power the chat. I will say one of my absolute favorite customer service tools is called Gorgeous. You can combine your emails, you can combine your Facebook comments, your Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and they offer chat as well, which is why I mentioned it. It goes all under one roof. So you're able to manage all of your customer support channels in one place. So all of your customer support representatives can, answer questions as they come in. Super, super handy tool. Highly recommend using it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Evan Jones says, I have been using Google Optimize to A/B test, but I am noticing a drop in performance. Is there a way to do this with Shopify Plus? So first off, Google Optimize is a really great tool for A/B testing. A/B testing is basically, I should probably back up and actually explain what these things are. A/B testing is where you're comparing two different versions of your website and you're delivering two different experiences to your customers. And you're comparing which one performs better. You can choose if you're going for like a higher conversion rate, you're looking for more clicks on a button, you're looking for more page views, whatever it might be. You can basically measure that performance, and Google Optimize does that performance measurement for you. As for if Shopify Plus can do that, the answer is no. We use Google Optimize on Shopify Plus stores all the time. I would say I would be more concerned with what is actually causing your performance to drop. It's not Google Optimize that's doing that.
Yeah. Another question is, how many apps are too many for a Shopify store? At what point will the slowdown start to occur? And one thing that is important to know, even though we were speaking kind of with a broad brush earlier, not all apps, while all apps leave residual code, some doesn't impact the front end and some does. And it's very difficult to know which one unless you're a developer. So
there are apps that like manage meta fields and things like that. They don't impact your page speed whatsoever. So I like to see stores have fewer than 15 apps installed if possible. I see lots of stores have 30 apps installed. I think my record I've ever seen is like 66 apps.
30 is too many.
66 is way too many.
10 was totally sufficient. Yeah. And again, I think when you're auditing back through your apps, think, does this app really provide value? Do I get something from it? Is it helping me sell more? Is it helping me automate XYZ? Is it helping me deliver a great customer experience? Or whatever pain point you're trying to solve. And if the answer is no, or I don't know, get rid of it.
All right. We have a question. Any CRO tips specific to subscription products? So one of the things that I showed on the Primal Kitchen website is a really great example of optimizing for your conversion rate to allow people to easily switch from a one-time order purchase to a subscription purchase. Some other things that you're going to want to do is it depends also on the type of subscription product you're using or you're selling. If there's a subscribe and save model like Primal Kitchen does, you want to make sure you have the terms very clear on basically what happens if I have to cancel. Do they have a monthly minimum? Anything like that, make that front and center on the website near the add to cart button, below it. If you're selling a box, like a monthly box, like favorite, I think Boxu is a good example. They sell like Japanese candy. They have like a monthly.
Oh, I want to subscribe to that box.
You're totally going to subscribe to that box.
I am.
So one thing to note when you're doing any kind of monthly box, something that makes it really helpful, first off, product reviews are always really, really, really great idea for boosting the conversion rates of it. Second, offer different options. So offer the month-to-month option, offer a 6-month option, offer a 12-month prepay option. So they can save money by subscribing for a whole year in advance. And they can take advantage of the discounts that come with that. Also add an FAQ section on there. And that's another thing that I don't think we actually touched on. You can add FAQs to your product pages, just your most frequently answered questions about that specific product, and also just general store related things. What's your return policy? What's your shipping policy? How long will it take me to receive this item? And then specifics like, how do I care for this product if you're selling like apparel? And anything that has to do with like allergies and nutrition information if you're selling food. Those are like the kinds of things you're wanting to think about. Basically, take all the questions that you're getting via customer service and turn those into your FAQs.
So when you're adding those FAQs in and you're on that page, there's a few different ways to do it. What is the most performant way? What boosts your CRO the most?
So one thing to remember, it's a tiny copy thing, but it makes a huge difference. Your customers are the ones who are shopping. Your customers are the ones who are asking the questions. So it's the difference between saying, how long do your orders take to ship and how long do my orders take to ship? Put things in the perspective of the customer asking that question. That was kind of a bad example, but I'm blanking on what else to use. Or how about my product arrived or my order arrived damaged? What can I do to fix it? Another thing to add, it's a really great option for CRO as well, is at the bottom of your FAQs, ask one final question saying, what can I do if my question was not answered here? And then direct them to your contact page or direct them to chat with you, so they can continue to get their question answered.
Is the $9 price plan for Shopify just as good as the $29 plan?
So a lot of people don't know that a $9 a month plan exists for Shopify. It's not usually advertised for a specific reason. The $9 a month plan is basically giving you Shopify's admin to manage your products, and you can use what's called the buy button, which is a sales channel on Shopify that basically allows you to embed a product on another website. Let's say you're running a blog on WordPress, but you want to sell some items. You can use that $9 a month plan to let people check out using Shopify's checkout and all the security that comes with Shopify, but you're still maintaining your other website off of Shopify. The key difference between that $9 plan and this $29 a month plan is you do not get Shopify storefront. You do not get access to actually build an online store on Shopify. It's literally just taking the data that exists within Shopify and using it on a different store. Most of the people are not going to be needing the $9 a month plan. There are very few exceptions to actually use that plan, which is why it's not really advertised front and center.
Yeah. Question from Drew. Hi, we are not a repeat customer seller. Our products last. So what options for CRO are open to us?
So one of the most important things to remember, if you have a lot of people who are coming in as a one-time purchase, their friends and family are going to be your best customers. So nurture those relationships. If you have a product that's long lasting, there are probably lots of things that you can share about how to use the product, how to care for the product, just cool things you can do with the product, whatever it might be, and really go after getting product reviews for that as well. Not only just text-based reviews, but images and videos even, so you can share those. Those are going to be the kinds of things that you're really wanting to optimize, because I get it. If you're not going for, if you're not having a product that's really a return, like something people are going to buy multiple times. I have a Shopify store set up selling an ebook that I wrote. People are only buying that one time. So my best way to convert people is to show testimonials and just really get people to hit checkout as quickly as possible so they can make that decision. So yeah, that's a good example. I think it's already 7:10. Let's go ahead and switch to teardowns. Go ahead and enter in your store URL if you want us to review your website on here. We're going to do a couple or maybe a few teardowns. While you're doing that, Sophie asked best recommendations for review apps for fashion. I'm just going to name off some of my favorite apps in general, that reviews apps. First off, Judge Me is a great one, judge.me. The most expensive plan they offer is $15 a month. So super cheap, super accessible. You can send those automatic review emails, which is really, really important. The other two I often recommend are Okendo, which is Okendo, and Junip, Junip. Both of them just offer slightly different review experiences, so you can see, what you like doing best. If you are going for more image-based reviews, I recommend looking at Loox, Loox. They have a nice grid for showing off the images that your customers are sharing. Okay, we've got some links. Do you want to?
I'm trying to pull. Okay. Okie dokie. I'm going to do Amanda Hunt Jewelry. And I'm going to share my screen. All right.
You go first.
I know it's jewelry because it's in the name. This is a beautiful product. I don't know if it's just where my brain is at, but I didn't see that it was jewelry immediately. And I think it's important to storytell out the gates. I also think this came up too soon, your pop-up. I also cannot read your up here. I can't read this.
Yeah.
So more contrast. Kelly, would you like a drop shadow or a different color?
So this is a setting in a lot of themes where you can have the image showing over everything. But yeah, I would add some kind of bar going across the top of the screen to make sure all of those links are visible, because the point is to get people to find what you're looking for, not just stay on the homepage.
Yeah.
And I think this might be, once you scroll down, you can see it. It's just that initial page load that's tough.
Yeah, I would keep it because this looks great.
It looks beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the logo. That's fun.
Yeah, it is really fun. Okay, so.
So one of the things I'm noticing is you have the images, at least on this screen, they're pretty tall and there's not much copy going on here. So I would spend some more time writing copy, maybe a couple paragraphs, basically introducing your brand. So you're jumping right into products, and I see it looks like you're advertising the same collection on this image and on this image here. So break this up a little bit and introduce your brand. But the photography here is absolutely beautiful.
So the other thing is, in terms of storytelling and copywriting, right? You have nature adorns naturally, nature adorns naturally. This is where, like Kelly was just saying, having some more copy, you've got space for copy. Use it. Absolutely use it. Okay, so let's pick one.
I like the alternate lifestyle image when you hover over a product. That's really great. All the images are the same aspect ratio as well.
I do. I really like those. They're really pretty. Okay, so we're going to look at this product description page.
Okay. So small things for the gift message, I would drop it below the chain link.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like that was added in after the fact. Scroll down a little bit so we can see the full description. So there's not much.
There's not a description
here. For a $215 product, I would expect to know a little bit more about it. What inspired you to make this product? Give me a creative story about why, how this came to be. I will say, I really like their two tabs here. When will my jewelry ship and jewelry care? That's the kind of information I was talking about to make that image, that information immediately available.
Yeah, I think that one thing that's interesting about this, or an interesting way to think about writing this copy, because it's inspired by the Roman goddess of the earth. Awesome. Tell me more, as if you were selling to me in real life, whether we were at a maker's fair or we were at I guess Neiman Marcus might now be defunct, at Nordstrom. Sell it to me. Because that's where you're going to get, especially with those higher price points, that's where you're going to get more stickiness.
And this is an example of a brand that would do very well offering one of those split payment options like Affirm or Afterpay or Sezzle, to really drive that point home that you can make this a more affordable option by splitting that $215 payment up.
Okay, and so here's the cart. Anything here that we need? Continue shopping. Where does this nav us back to?
Back to the homepage.
Okay, I don't love that.
I think that's the default, or it goes back to like all products.
Yeah.
I would choose a destination that makes the most sense for where your customers are most likely to shop next. You have shop categories, so I would probably go with one of those.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not going to check out just because it'll auto-populate all of my stuff. Is there any other part that you want to look at, or should we pick another store?
Let's go ahead and pick another store just for the sake of time.
Okie dokie.
Jennifer, what I said was gorgeous. Gorgias.
Okay. Okay, this is called Malama. All right.
That was a very fast pop-up.
It was.
I think somebody asked what our thoughts are about Privy. I think Privy's great. I think this is the kind of thing that you're looking at, having smart pop-ups to delay at a certain time or at a certain page. They also recently released a free shipping threshold bar. I don't know too much about it. All I know is that it's included in the Privy plan, and I love free shipping threshold bars. So
I love free shipping. Like I said
I
earlier,
love free shipping.
I love free shipping. So, okay, help your skin thrive. You're telling me exactly what this is: antioxidant-rich, natural skincare that provides the best nourishment for your skin. Okay, you've got some keywords in there. You're telling me what it does. I'm into that. Any thoughts on the hero?
I think that's perfect. And also note that this is another good example of a brand that has the text right over the image at the top, but you can read it perfectly. This is the kind of photography that works really, really great in this case.
I love these trust badges. Although I will say you might want to have like a featured in or something right here, because I know the purpose of this, but I'm not sure that your buyers will. Kelly, do you have thoughts on that?
I agree. I think, as seen in, or these, loved by, whatever makes sense. Yeah.
So, okay. Love this.
So again, when you're writing out the copy, especially for your homepage like this, think about basically from the perspective of the customer. What is your skin experiencing? Oh, I'm experiencing blemishes. I have sensitive skin, whatever it might be, and then help your customers guide them to the right page. Now, can you click on any of these images?
No.
I would make that clickable. So if I say, oh, I have signs of aging, I want to click on that and be taken immediately to the products that are best.
Or a collection, right?
Exactly. Yeah, a collection is exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to click in. So overall, I'm really digging this. I will say that. Okay, we're going to click on the hydrating herbal toner. Okay, so this one's using Afterpay. So one thing to note, depending on what the average order value is on the store, I'm not really a big fan of seeing these installments when you have a lower price point product. I think there's not really much of a purpose. So I see actually some brands implement just you have to hit a certain threshold, like average order value, before you can actually use one of these services. That makes sense. A rule. Yeah. Okay. Why? Okay. So it scrolls. I mean, I get why it does that, but I don't love that very much. Do you see what I'm talking about? Yeah, I do love those benefits. I love the benefits. I hope there's some alt text underneath this, which is alternative text that you have behind every single one of these images. So you're describing them. And I love this. Oh, this is great. This is great. Great copy, great content. I love the use of the emoji, obviously dependent on your target market. I love ingredients, how to use, clean the planet. I love it. I love it. There's your sustainability statement, how to use. So yeah. I don't know if I love how this scrolled, but I also don't hate it. On to the next. On to the next. Yeah. And while you're pulling one up, what do I think about Klaviyo pop-ups? I think they're fine. I've been expressing some discontent to the Klaviyo team about how difficult it is to style them, but functionally they work great. And by the way, Klaviyo recently added the feature to A/B test your forms on Klaviyo, not just your emails, but actually the pop-ups and the embedded forms on your website. So you can test out different copy in different fields and things like that to see what's going to result in the most signups. So I'm a big fan of all things Klaviyo, so that's my 2 cents there. Okay.
Also, there was a question about my feelings, which we never actually got to, about slideshows versus one single image on your website.
Oh, yes. Hill she will die on.
This is the hill I will die on. There are very, 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 very few occasions where I'm going to say, yes, a slideshow is a good idea. Here's why. Most people are not looking at the second and third and fourth slides. If it automatically scrolls to the next one, it can be distracting. Again, it can pull people away from what they were looking at before. I'd say optimize that very first hero image that you're using and make it a great one. You can also consider using video if you want something a little bit more eye-catching, but not a fan of hero slideshows. I don't recommend using them. That is my TLDR. If you want more, listen to our most recent podcast episode, because I think I spend like 5 minutes ranting about slideshows. It's pretty great.
So I have picked our final teardown of the night, and I'm actually really stoked on it. And Kelly, I think you're going to be as well.
So before we get into that, I want to say, if we did not get to your website today, since we only did 3 of them, we have a form where you can submit a URL for your for getting a teardown. We're going to start doing recorded YouTube videos and just uploading them to YouTube to, run through, let's say, like 5 websites in one video. So you can kind of see, more teardowns and also get your own store torn down as well. So I am going to post that and broadcast to the, I don't know how I'm doing this. I'm still learning how to use these tools. But anyway, there's the link. It's also a link. It's hosted on our podcast website. It's called Commerce Tea. You can find it on any podcasting platform you use. You can also visit commercetea.com to listen.
Okay, and here is the product.
Oh my goodness, I love it already.
I know. I opened it and was like, okay.
So, first of all, the product photography, phenomenal.
It's
the
on
copy,
point.
it just immediately brings you in. Again, this is what they sell. So what are adaptogens? I don't know. But if I scroll down a little bit, apparently I'm going to be told that they're, just nurturing adaptogenic plants and aromatic, whatever, I'm not going to read it.
This is great copy, y'all. Also, look
copy.
at this big standard shipping bar up top.
I love it. Somebody asked what theme are they using. This looks custom to me.
This does look custom to me as well, but I could be wrong. If whoever's behind this wants to share, please drop it in the chat.
So, I'm going to sneak and tell you because. So this is, I love the kind of breaking the grid a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's not just, let me actually pull up. It might be, you know what? I think I know what it is.
I love this. And this just shows the power of product photography and clean, great images. And the rampant, look at this. I love this. We all see that. I love it.
Yes. So that's a really great example.
I love that. I want to give it a hug. I love it so much.
All I want to say is that if this is a theme from the theme store, this is exactly
everyone should use it.
Like this is why, I'm often asked by merchants reaching out to us, like, do I need a custom theme? Vast majority of merchants do not need a custom theme. What's offered from Shopify's theme store, from out of the sandbox, from other theme developers, like these are really solid themes that you don't need to completely build something custom. These themes are so customizable that you can really make it your own. And also by hiring a developer just to make some tweaks that are, that fit kind of outside the confines of the way the theme is structured, you can really have this unique standout brand. Reach theme, that is what it's called. Thank you. Yeah, so Reach Shopify theme. Yep, that's in the theme store.
I love this copy right here. We're going to send you stuff that really doesn't suck, and it's so funny.
I love that.
I really love this. I don't know if I have
to build
feedback.
I don't have any qualms. So
let me click on this. Okay.
I do want to answer, do you have to build a custom theme for Shopify Plus? No, you do not. I have merchants who are doing millions of dollars a year who are using a theme from the theme store.
The only thing I would say on this, unless you have it, and it has nothing to do with CRO, but just as you continue to scale and grow, is you don't have a blog and you have pretty rich copy, but I would work on expanding your copy, and you can do that through a blog, and you can do that through education, which I see you do have education about I can't say it, adaptogens. But I would you could do a whole blog post on melatonin. You can do a whole blog post on marine collagen. So that's just, if there was just one thing I had to just grab from this.
Find something.
Yeah, I found something, and it's that you should have a blog.
Let's go to a product page.
Okay. Shop.
I didn't realize how much I love this theme.
Sweet dreams. I need some sweet dreams.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so again, the description here is a little bit shorter. I think there's definitely, you have this beautiful photography. You have such strong messaging on here. I would carry that over to the all the copy on your website, especially all these product descriptions. So can you scroll down? So you have reviews. This, I believe, is the Junip app. Reviews app that I was just talking about. Can you click write a review?
Yep, Junip.
Yep. Okay, cool.
I will say I like that this is on brand. So many mouth feelings. I love things that are all on brand. When you find your brand voice, it's so important. But you could expand this out a little bit.
Can you click on the third image in the thumbnails? Okay, so here's a good example of, it's great photography. The copy is right on the image. What I would do is I would take this same kind of concept, and between all this copy up here at the top in ratings and reviews, add a little section that's really calling this out, that has that testimonial. So you're really driving, like you're expanding on the content on this page that's not just the add to cart and reviews.
Yeah, 100%. Because that's just from Pop Sugar. I want to see this right away. We need to know this.
Exactly.
So overall, though,
beautiful website. Absolutely love it. So once again, if we did not get to your website and you still want to have a teardown done, I left the link in there. It's commercetee.com/ I think I actually created a redirect for /teardown. commercetee.com/teardown. I did. Awesome. commercetee.com/teardown. Any final thoughts?
No. Thank you all for joining us.
CRO is awesome. Please enjoy the experience of optimizing your website and enjoying all the great things that come with it. Black Friday, Cyber Monday is very quickly approaching. Now is the time to be optimizing your website. Now is the time to be figuring out what your strategies are going to be for advertising on social media, via email. Also, your post-purchase flows. Make sure you know how you're going to be nurturing those new customers that you just brought in. Now is the time to be thinking about all of this. I know it's a lot, but it is so, so worth your time.
It absolutely is. Cheers. We'll see y'all next time. I hope you stay well and healthy. Don't forget to wear a mask. Bye.